new age conservatism is
Yeah.
classic liberalism in my
Yeah.
like just from looking at all the people who identify that way now. So that's where I've always been. And the Democrats, progressives, liberals, whatever you want to call them on that side, it's just the most toxic behavior I've seen from a group of people in a long time. Like, I've never met a religious person that was far right that treated me that way, the way the people on the left do.
Has it been kind of disappointing for you to see what you described with the gay community? I was never like really in the gay community in that way. I actually had a gay radio show on Sirius XM, so I guess I had like a year or two of my life that I was sort of in that world. But I never really felt like I was in it. I was also closeted later, and just the way my life was. It's just how it is. But to see now, like when people talk about the gay community, it seems like they've gone from being edgy and controversial and sort of subversive and interesting, and there was music and fashion and blah, 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 to now it's just like the worst
Politics.
sort of social preening, political hysterics. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have friends of mine that went to, they go to Florida pride parades and they get harassed, like verbally, not, thank God, I don't think anyone's like thrown anything at them, but they get verbally harassed, like cursed at, and just for being a conservative, for believing in something different. He doesn't, my friend David, Brokeback Patriot. What's upsetting to me the most, I think, over the last 2 years is when and this is maybe an ego thing a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but it was also a comfort thing. When I used to go out to these pride marches and lesbian events or LGBT events, like, Playlist Live, VidCon, whatever, kids used to come up to me and cry. Like, actually, I'm not even kidding, like cry, telling me that I saved their life or I at least changed their life. I helped them come out of the closet. I helped them be who they are. And it's like, I'm the same person that I was back then.
Yeah.
I just am more honest and open with my opinions now, even though to me they're still pretty, mainstream opinions. Now when I go to pride parades and I go to safe spaces, I'm not even kidding, I don't feel safe anymore. Like I went to a gay bar in Tampa, and it could be just me being in my own head. I really don't know. My friends saw it too, though, so maybe it wasn't just me in my own head. There was an older trans woman, assumingly a trans woman, and I could have sworn she was staring at me. And my first thought, of course, is not that she's thinking about hitting on me. Like, my first thought is, oh my God, this person knows who I am and thinks I'm a transphobe and like is going to attack me. And I don't want to think that way, because like that's assuming somebody's something that they might not be. But it's gotten to that point. People, like I said, people used to come up to me, hug me. Now people at pride parades and events will come up to me in private and do one of these things.
Yeah.
Do they do that to you too? Like, I just want you to know.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say this out loud, but I really, really appreciate what you're doing. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, you can't say it louder. Like, they won't do it.
Yeah.
They're terrified. But you and I know at this point, most people agree with what you and I say.
That's what I think too, because I don't think nobody's happier because of this thing. It sort of was like when Pride Month rolled around, or I used to go to the Pride Parade in New York City, which is always the last Sunday of June, and my birthday's June 26th. So I actually met my husband, who I've now been with for 10 years, on my birthday at Gay Pride. Like,
I love that.
Believe it or not, and he was wearing an American flag tank top. It was all meant to be.
I love it.
But yeah, when I would go there, then people would sort of love me because I had this radio show and I was a lefty. And I don't really go to them anymore, but I did go to the Abbey, which is like the big gay bar of West Hollywood. I went about a year ago, and for the first time in my life, I was kind of worried because I was like, I don't know what these people are going to think about me, exactly what you're saying. But I will say, not only did nobody say anything negative to me, but several people did come up to me, and I could tell they were a little nervous, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be seen with Dave, but they were like, Dave, I'm with you. So they are waking up. They are, because gays are supposed to be individuals, not group monolithic thinkers.
Yes, that's the whole point, isn't it? We were born different. I think, and this is like a little spiritual lesson, but I think when you're born different, it's a gift, right? It's a gift being yourself because you're different is a gift, because you allow other people the chance to be themselves. You show them that it's okay. And I think if we are a monolith, I think that's the opposite of what our path is as LGBT people. we have the opportunity to be leaders, and we're being followers, and I refuse that.
Are you hopeful that we can turn this thing around? It seems like so much of the woke thing is attached to the trans thing, where every day there's another trans story. I even talk about it with my guys on the show when we're figuring out the rundown, and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing another trans story, just because we're overblowing this thing. I'm same with you. I don't care. I'll call you if you treat me with respect. I'll treat you with respect. I call Caitlyn Jenner a she. I don't have any problem with that. But that the issues, they've just bludgeoned us with these issues to the point that I actually think they're starting to cause a backlash. I actually think there's some backlash on the gays now too because of this. Because they feel like, oh, see what happened? The gays became equal, and now look what happened. Now boys have vaginas and girls have penises. Yeah.
Right. No, and I agree with them. I agree with the people that it is a slippery slope. I think, which is why I call myself, like, in this sense, a conservative, meaning, to me, what a conservative means these days is a classic liberal. And I think that's how you identify. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, although I don't have a problem saying conservative at this point. But yes, my beliefs.
But new age conservatism is classic liberalism in my just from looking at all the people who identify that way now. So that's where I've always been. And the Democrats, progressives, liberals, whatever you want to call them on that side, it's just the most toxic behavior I've seen from a group of people in a long time. Like, I've never met a religious person that was far right that treated me that way, the way the people on the left do. Yeah. And
while they're telling you how tolerant they are, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's another abusive tactic, right? Gaslighting, like actual gaslighting. Like, I'm being nice, I care about you. Like, nah. Like, no, like, clearly you don't. Like, you don't respect me at all. I think that we have a long way to go because people are so guilted right now into virtue signaling and trying to be the wokest or the most woke. And I think that's because there's an extreme lack of self-awareness and self-worth from these people that are doing this kind of virtue signaling, whatever you want to call it. They need to be confident in themselves, especially the trans community, in my opinion. I'm gonna get shit for saying that, but you know what it is. Anyone that's very different needs to get their act together, be okay with being different, and become a leader, and stop needing validation. They have to stop needing and wanting validation from everyone else, from the entire world. And I think once they do that and they show that, like Caitlyn Jenner, I think is a really good example, to be honest. I think she holds a lot of respect from a lot of people, even if they don't agree with her being trans. Not that you can't agree with being trans because you can't fix it, help it. But even if somebody disagrees with her, I think they have a lot of respect for her because she speaks logically. And I think that's where the left is completely messing up. None of them are making any sense at the moment. None of them. It's all based on identity politics and, people wanting to be nice.
What do you say, or what advice would you have if there's like a young gay kid watching this, a 15-year-old that sort of understands that the woke thing is wrong? Because we also know that now the Zoomers, the young generation, after Generation Y, they are leaning more conservative because they've seen this thing go so out of whack. But what would you say to a young gay kid, young girl who wants to come out but doesn't want to be completely just swarmed by that thing?
It's tough because I get messages more like that every day than people assume I get hit on all the time in my direct messages. It's not like that. It's always these types of messages like, what do I do? I'm more conservative, or I don't believe in this crazy shit that they're spewing. I don't know how to speak up. You have to figure it out. You have to figure out how to speak up as long as you're safe. Because in my opinion, I think you know this, if every single person that agreed with us spoke up, this would end tomorrow.
It would end tomorrow.
Like it would end today. It really would. Like, it really would, because there are a lot more of us than them. And that doesn't mean that we're correct on the issue just because there's more of us. But in this case, I do think, it's just a bonus that there happens to be more of us, and we also happen to be on the right side of history, so to speak. Pun intended, I guess. Yeah. My advice would be, you're born to be different, and this is just another chance to be different and be proud of it, to think differently. Everyone's scared these days to think differently. And if you can do that and prove that that's okay, and know that that's okay to yourself, and show others that that's okay, you're going to be the start of it's going to be the start of something big for them.
Have you gotten any real hate from people on the right? Because I think for me, one of the things that was kind of surprising was that really didn't happen. Yes, there's this very tiny sliver of anonymous weirdos on Twitter who seem to be on the right and hate gays. But in reality, whether I was sitting down with Ben Shapiro, who has a different religious perspective on gay marriage, let's say, or scary Glenn Beck, or any of these people, I found nothing but support. I found nothing but humanity and decency. I go to evangelical events and get standing ovations. Like, I just find tolerance there, even though perhaps they have some of them have perhaps a different religious belief.
Yeah, I people are gonna think I'm lying and grifting for this, but like, I really haven't had any bad experiences yet. Like, even when like you said, you disagree with them, they're like, okay, I don't agree, but I still love you. I still respect you as a person. Okay, like, I'm pro-choice. I'm always going to be pro-choice because I'm a traditional feminist. Not these crazy third and fourth wave feminists. Oh my God. But yeah, I think, I think it's much better on this side overall. Like, I haven't really had any, like, even I met up with Ben Shapiro in LA, and he said the most Ben Shapiro thing to me ever. And his little, how he talks.
Give me a Ben Shapiro impression. Come on.
I'm gonna try, but he was like, you know, the conservatives haven't cared about gays since like 1990, right? Like, like so quickly, like, and he shook his head. He did one of those things, like, we don't care anymore, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, now I know. Like, I didn't know before, but he's like, yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about women's issues instead of nonstop yelling, check out our Women's Issues playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, check out our full episode playlist. They're both right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.